Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
And I'm Mike Drucker.
Mike Drucker. Hello, Mike. How's it going, buddy?
It is going well, and happy birthday to you. I think
That's right.
yesterday. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, yesterday was my birthday. In fact, I have some messages here, if I
Oh,
may read them. Thank you for saying. Hey, Keith. It's your buddy Rick here. I'm 6'1", 285 pounds, B cups. I ask people to give that information to show that they care. I'll get emails complaining about something like 2 pages long.
yeah.
I'll say something back and they'll go, oh, I never really cared anyway. So I need information to show you give a shit.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I give 1 billion shits about wishing you the best birthday anyone has ever had in the history of the world, and that all people everywhere feel good all the time, except for bad people. Good, thank you. I got one in the morning this morning.
Okay.
Carrie Gravenson, a so-called friend, and Carrie says, "Holy fucking cockballs, dick shits, and cum tits! Happy fucking birthday!" It was
Wow.
April 15th. That's Keith's day, and I fucking didn't look at the thing and see the thing and remember the thing, and I'm so sorry. And I don't know how you feel about your birthday, Mike.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is actually the ultimate gift. When they
That
feel
they forgot
bad.
it?
When they
Oh, they
blow
feel
it.
bad.
Yeah. She prides herself on organization. She prides herself on
Yeah.
caring. I don't think she should have the name Carrie. So
Yeah.
that's exciting. Catan says happy birthday and happy anniversary to the dad emails also, I suppose. That's true. So I have this book, keithandthegirl.com/dad book. It's called The Dad Emails. And it's about the time when it happened to be on my birthday. My dad's thinking about me because it's my birthday. So what does he do? Instead of rating me, he rates to my ex-wife and
Oh no.
starts talking to her. And my ex-wife is still talking to me. He didn't know that. And she's still talking to me. And she says, hey, what's going on? How do I get this guy out of my life? And I said, as a birthday present to me, can I set up a fake email and pretend I'm you? And she says, sure, if it ends something somehow. Yeah. Get the Malleys out of my life. And so then I started pretending to be her, and he started hitting on her,
Oh my
aka
God.
me. And apparently I make my dad's quote libido jingle.
Oh my God. That had to be something to learn.
Facebook reminded me, said,
Okay,
hey,
but
happy birthday. Here's a reminder of emails between you and your dad that you put on Facebook.
remember when your dad hit on your ex-wife? I don't know what he was hoping for, but there you go.
This is from 5 years ago. Happy birthday, my dad wrote. We would have sent you a present for both Easter and your birthday. My mom was alive at the time. She passed away from dementia. We would have sent you a present for both Easter and your birthday, but since you treated our Christmas present so poorly, I
Wow.
didn't get one. We did not want to burden you with future presents.
Wow.
I am sure that you understand, but if you ever decide to mend your ways, please let us know. This is after I said, hey, it's me you were writing to. But of course, he didn't let my mom know any of that.
Right, of course.
But
not.
but
Well,
now it's like, I sent a Christmas gift. It got returned. You know what? I know I hit on your ex-wife. But you do want a birthday present still, don't you? I'm a grown adult. It's okay, whatever this could fucking be.
Once you mend your ways, once you get
Right.
your shit together,
Yes.
we could talk. I mean, you're being weird about this.
Then a father could say to a son, happy birthday, which would obviously make my grown adult son's day.
Yeah.
I said at the time, you just keep going. You told my ex-wife she makes your libido jingle. How do you get caught doing that and still act like a pompous asshole? And by the way, we never cursed in our house, so this is a
Yeah.
big. Which reminds me, it's officially the anniversary of when you wrote my ex-wife, your daughter-in-law, behind my back. So it's not just my birthday, it's your special day too. So thank you, Facebook. Not that this is even important, but your Christmas present didn't get here. That's simple. And since I know I'm not the only one that happened to, I think it's safe to assume it's not something I decided to do. You know us kids all talk, right? Do you know we always did? Mend my ways? Fuck off. Thank you, Keith. P.S. I'd still like you to sing on my answering machine, though. So he sang for New Year's, like the birthday song, but with the Happy New Year's lyrics, and you can hear his disdain in his voice. But my mom is making him do that. But my dad can't tell my mom why we're on the outs, or he'd have to
Right.
say he hit on my ex.
Yeah.
That was a real hoot on New Year's when you forced yourself to do that while keeping everything behind mom's back. You're disgusting and you're only embarrassing yourself. You can't trick us anymore. Behave. So the book is at keithandthegirl.com/dadbook. If you
That's
want the audio
crazy.
version, you can hear that for free. KeithandTheGirl.com/dad and KeithandTheGirl.com/VIP gives you every show that we've ever done, including spin-off shows, including Daddy Issues, a show I do with my brother Ken. All right, use code FREETRIAL. You can give it a shot. But you know what? What if I said, all right, I get about $50 every birthday.
Hmm.
If I say, and this was like 5 years ago, so if
Yeah.
I say, I'll tell you what, we can work it out, but I need $300 cash monies today.
Yeah.
Zelle, Venmo, I don't care how I get it, but that's the right thing to do. Then we could be pals again. Peyton Clarkson says, dang, even in retrospect, the burn is real. Remind me not to piss off Keith Malley. Love you. Well, it's funny that somebody, I know Christian Finnegan said that once, like, oh my God, what if I get on the bad side of you? And I'm like, I don't know. Try your best not to give birth to me and then try to fucking X mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's like a pretty low bar to step over. Like, just don't hit on
Right.
my ex-wife.
Just try your best. Mike Drucker has been on this show before, but about 10 years ago. What's
Long time
new?
ago. Not, I mean, since then, a lot's been new. I think I moved to LA, then back to New York.
I
I worked on shows. I
Right.
released a book called Good Game No Rematch a couple weeks ago, so
I
that's
love
probably
it.
the newest thing.
I love it. And we'll get to that, of course. I remember going to my high school reunion and people I went to school with would be like, what's new? I'm like, I don't know. I could take the car out without permission.
Yeah, exactly. What's new? I don't know. I've been like three breakups, a bunch of major life changes. Some relatives have died. It's been 10 years.
My penis goes into some bodies sometimes.
Yeah, it's been in a couple bodies, and a couple bodies no longer want to see it.
Right. The episode he was on, listen to it. It's very funny. Episode 1841. It was called It Seems the Tired Way.
Oh yeah.
And this came from when you would work on, tell me if I have this right. You worked on the video games, you would translate from Japanese to English, make it
Hmm.
make sense to the Western audience. And one
Yeah.
of the phrases Japanese would use, they would look at you and say, it seems the tired way.
Yeah.
And that actually was a compliment, meaning you look tired because you work so hard.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it was really more like something you'd see in an email. I was like, I would work directly with a Japanese translator, and usually he was the one who'd translate emails. But like, if he was
Yeah.
out for the day or sick, I would have to Google Translate emails from these Japanese game developers, and they're super friendly, super polite. But yeah, one of the, we all have idioms in our language,
Right.
and sort of an idiom there is like, it's almost like, instead of saying like, I can tell you have worked hard,
Right.
it's sort of like, oh man, you look tired.
Yeah.
Like and to us it sounds like it's almost like saying like you look busted up, something's wrong.
Hey,
But to them
bags
it's
under
almost
your
like
eyes.
right. But to them it's almost like I can tell just by looking at you that you have put a lot of work in,
Right.
which is meant to be a very nice compliment, but actually sounds like an insult when it's just directly translated.
You had to, so the directly that when you have to translate things,
Yeah.
they to them something might be happy good time, and in American or in English it's pussy surprise, and you got to explain to them, hey, we have to change it over here. Meanwhile, in their video games, you have to tell them like we don't do upskirt shots in video games over here for kids. Just so you know.
That's more like that's Nintendo probably has. I was at Nintendo and they probably had it covered. I think other companies needed more of like the like, hey, let's not go upskirt.
Okay.
With Nintendo is a little bit more like, I don't think that the kids are going to understand what instructions we're telling them. So let's explain it a
Right.
little bit in more detail.
What made you move to LA and then why back?
So I was working at the Tonight Show the last time we
Right.
did this, and I happened to get a job offer to work on a Bill Nye Netflix show, and then Adam Ruins Everything, kind of at the same time, and they were both things I really wanted to work on, and
Right.
decided to take the shot and move out to LA, and so I did, and worked on some really fun projects, and then uh, because this is the way showbiz works, all of the job offers I was getting was back in New York. So I moved
Mm.
back to New York and worked on Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, and I did some more stuff at the Tonight Show and a couple other small things here or there. And so yeah, I just bounced back and forth.
Bill Nye. Were you head writer on Bill Nye?
I was head writer on Bill Nye. Yeah.
What science have you learned?
I have learned up is down. No, the science I've
It
learned.
is round.
Uh, it's hard because like on those shows you'd work with half of the team were science writers, so I did learn a lot, but there wasn't like one fact off the top of my head that I can think of. It was more like me being like, oh wait, no, yeah, if we do an onstage, it was more about like learning the production of science experiments on stage. Like I
Okay.
learned more about being like, oh, we need to talk to a lot of safety people before we make a bottle of soda explode.
It'd
Like
be
there's like
funny
little
if
things.
your job was to write what an idiot would write in, you know? How do I
Sometimes it felt that way.
right? Can you prove the earth is round? Like, okay, I guess we pretend people are asking that.
It's
That's fun.
whatever I guess the internet would guess something dumber. Like the internet would be like, "How do you know that there's an Earth?" I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Did you find LA as expensive as New York?
Um, I found them about to be as expensive. I kind
Right,
of like New York a little more just because one, I don't want to own a car. I don't like owning a car. I mean, I like cars just fine. I have no problem with cars personally. It's just to
right,
me, mass transit's the dream. I don't have to pay for a thing. I don't have to you know, move a car to the other side of the street at 5 a.m. or anything. And so
right.
with LA, that added expense, I think, is what made it more expensive to me. So, but outside of that, they were about the same, I'd say. But I prefer New York by a hair. Like if I had to choose between the two, New York, but LA was fine.
I've been here almost 30 years in New York, and does it feel though it's getting more dangerous, especially the subway?
I mean, I think that just we hear about it more. Like I think that like when some crazy shit happens on the subway, we hear about it instantly on the news and
Right.
social media. Whereas like, 15, even 10 or 15 years ago, it'd be like, oh, did you hear what happened like 3 weeks ago? Yeah, like a guy fell on the
I
tracks. Oh,
see.
wow. Whereas now it's like you're like 15 minutes ago, someone just pushed a guy. And it seems so immediate that it feels like because you find out immediately, it
Right.
feels like it's constantly happening.
A man sexually violated a corpse on a New York City subway train.
But he didn't kill the corpse on the subway.
He
He
didn't
brought it
kill him.
onto the subway.
Well, they say the man that this guy died of natural causes. Yeah, he took the subway. He's dead naturally. One woman robbed him, and then later a man robbed him and fucked him.
I, they tell you not to fall asleep on the subway, and I
They
think
do
that
say
also
that.
extends to not dying on the subway.
The
Um,
the attack marked the second time the dead person had been stolen from in less than an hour. So he was dead for about an hour.
yeah, I mean, it's a pretty sad story. I don't doubt it's a very very sad story, but also I feel like that's a rare occurrence.
It doesn't make you learn to drive.
No, no, not really. No, because like I feel like getting carjacked or getting into a bad car accident to me is just as harrowing.
I'd rather be rear-ended by a car. Can you imagine you're at the pearly gates and your asshole hurts like Severance? What
I mean,
happened?
I like that you said like Severance one, but two, like I don't know. I guess if I'm at the pearly gates, I'm probably like, you know what, that guy can have it. I'm getting into heaven. Like it's
Right.
like if someone like you leave a fan on the side of the sidewalk and someone picks it up right away. You're
Right.
like, you know what, I put it out there. It's good that they take it.
I hear. What if you can take it with you? Oh boy,
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The police said it appeared the victim had died of natural causes. Yeah, okay.
which is
No,
good. Which is I'm not good, but again, he was not murdered.
that's good. There been no arrests made in the case. Okay, I'm the end of next month. I'm gonna move to Charlotte, and I'm just looking at money right now. But now, reading these subway stories, I'm like, you know what? Good. It's almost like it's like if you go on vacation and you check the weather from back home, you want it to be rainy and shitty because that's like a
Yeah,
bonus vacation.
yeah,
So
that makes
every
sense.
subway story I see, I'm like, good, goodbye. Goodbye. And then the money difference. Holy cow. Because if
That
I
makes
could
sense.
record Keith and the Girl anywhere, why not? I'm looking at a place, 2 bedrooms, a pool, all this shit, the latest, you know, fridge, stove, all this
Yeah.
New York shit renting is old. It has a fireplace. I can rent that out to a New Yorker visiting town and not knowing any better? Call it a
Yeah, that does
studio.
make sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Now I'll still have, I guess I'll have the same president and all that shit, but what are you going to do? The president, by the way, Donald Trump, before we get to your book, just had his physical examination,
Yep.
and guess what? Goddamn
Perfect.
perfect.
Perfect bill of health.
Goddamn perfect. This is
Perfect.
him on the Air Force One. I'll explain if it's hard to make out.
Hello, everybody. Just got back from Walter Reed.
Just got back from Wall
That's
Street.
well, and with you, but I think well. every test you can imagine. Was there for a long time. The yearly physical.
Every test you can imagine.
I think I did well. I think they're releasing the report on Sunday. Doctors, highly respected doctors. Great place, great, amazing place. Overall, I think I felt I was in very good shape. Good heart, a good soul.
A good heart, a good soul.
Good soul. Oh yeah, that thing on the medical report.
Yes, a good soul. I saw him try to drink from water. I'd love to see him on a treadmill with fucking things attached to him.
I love like if they're like if you were in the hospital and the doctor was like, listen, you don't have a lot of time to live, but you do have a good soul. Right. It'd be like, no, okay, that's not what I want to hear right now. I want you to get to work on this.
Right.
Very good soul.
Very good soul.
And, I wanted to be a little different than Biden. I took a cognitive test. And I don't know.
Yeah, we remember your last cognitive test, right?
Good cognitive test.
Man, woman, person, a camera, TV. And you know they gave him the 5 easiest words, like think man. And then what's the opposite? Woman. What are they? Person. Now, where are you going to go? In front of a camera, right? And camera's kind of like a TV.
TV. Like,
he got really excited.
Get him out.
I want to tell you other than I got every answer right.
Every answer was right.
I took just a lot of different tests having to do with the heart, having to do with other things.
The heart and other things.
They're going to release the report.
They'll release the report. Don't worry. Don't release the report. They had me draw a clock, so I wrote 3 numbers down.
I identified a giraffe and a fish, and so I'm president.
So I'm looking at the report, the 2-page report. 78 years old, 10 months. All right, you can't lie about that. His height, 6.25 feet. His weight, 224 pounds.
Are we sure about that?
There's no fucking way.
Is he like stuffed with little styrofoam bits like a carnival teddy bear? Like, right. Is that what's going on?
Well, people love when it happens, people compare that stat with famous athletes. So you have Hurts, the quarterback from Eagles, who just won the Super Bowl. He is 6'3" and 230 pounds. They do not look alike.
But yeah, they're not the same shape, I don't think.
Right. I guess you can wear it different. And then when it says like your cardiac and your gastrointestinal, everything says normal heart sounds, normal ultrasound. When I do tests, it always says unremarkable. Do you think they wrote down unremarkable and he got confused? Like, no, you say it's remarkable. They're like, we'll say it's normal. Okay.
You know what? Honestly, I hadn't even thought, because I have seen that medical report, but you're absolutely right. Because whenever I'm the same way, whenever I get like results back and they're normal, it doesn't say like, no, it says like unremarkable or like, not charted for whatever, not recorded because there's not enough, whatever the fuck. But yeah, I'm sure it was unremarkable. And he's like, don't call me unremarkable. Can we say normal? And it's like, you know what? Fine. You're going to shoot me behind an abandoned party city if I don't. So sure.
People aren't going to know this word remarkable. They didn't even know the word groceries. I had to explain that to them.
They hadn't heard of groceries before.
Right. Here's some more silly shit. The great Katy Perry is an astronaut now. She went into outer space. A 10-minute journey, 3 minutes, or 2 to 3 minutes were actually floating around where she went high enough. Here's her explaining how awesome it is.
Katie. Crier of the group. No, you're not the crier of the group. Feeler of the group.
Already I hate her. I'm the feeler of the group. Yeah, okay, all right, go ahead.
You are not. I'm going to tell you something right now. You are officially an astronaut. Thank you so much. How do you feel?
Thank you so much. Not no or come on or what an honor to be chosen. Thank you for recognizing what I have done.
Like when I was in Cub Scouts, they let me onto the field with the Florida Marlins during like the national anthem.
Right.
That did not make me a professional baseball player. It just meant I got to go near to where the professional baseball players played.
If she's an astronaut, I go to water parks and I can't swim. And am I a stuntman?
That's exactly it, though.
I feel super connected to love.
Oh.
So connected to love. I think this experience has shown me you never know how much love is inside of you, like how much love you have to give and how loved you are until the day you launch.
We had these incredible shots.
What the fuck does any of that
What does
mean?
That means nothing. That is you. That is not you, but that is someone trying to
Right.
be like, I have a lot of money, and I know that there is no reason for me to do this.
Right.
So let's wrap it around something.
You realize all the love and that people love you. Maybe
Yeah.
people love you by sending texts like,
Good
I
luck
want you
up
to
there.
take me out to dinner a lot, so good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Me,
I'm-
you never
yeah.
know how much love is inside of you, like
that-
how much love you have to give and how loved you are until the day you launch.
Russell Brand is like, this chick's nuts. You see, guys? See why I had to leave?
Incredible shots of Daisy watching you as the rocket. It'll make me.
Oh, Daisy's her daughter.
It'll make me cry. The rocket's going up, and she was so proud and just kept saying, "Mommy, mommy." And I know
I bet it was Mommy.
Mom.
Where the fuck are you going?
you'll feel the same way when you watch it. And you brought a real life Daisy up.
That's
it was
right.
important for you, not only
She took a daisy, the flower, up with her also.
I'll say
What's
that.
your
You know what? That's
daughter's
fine. That's fine.
Well, wait till
I'm not
you
mad at
hear her.
it.
Wait
Okay.
until you hear her explain it.
but why else was that important to bring in?
Daisies are common flowers, but they grow through any condition.
Okay.
They go
All right.
through cement, they go through cracks, they go through walls. They are resilient. They are powerful. They are strong. They are everywhere. Flowers are, to me, God's smile, but it's also a reminder of our beautiful earth and the flowers here and God's smile and the beautiful magic that is everywhere, all around us, and even in a simple daisy. So to really appreciate it and remember it and
So I ripped it out of the ground.
remember it and take care of it and protect it.
Gail
Yeah, that
shared
Daisy's
with
dead now. That Daisy's dead now.
Gail shared with us.
I was okay with it. I was okay with it when it was her daughter. Like I was like, you know
Sure.
what, that's a little sweet. Like, you know, I'm gonna bring this reminder of my daughter with me. And then as soon as it becomes more than about
Right.
the daughter, I'm immediately like, stop it. Just be a human being. Just
My daughter's name is Rose, and a rose has petals, but also has thorns. And that teaches me the garlic versus the honey of life.
like, oh
And
God.
that while the rose might wither and die, you can buy another one. And that is endurance. And that we must keep going on, even though we just had to pay our taxes. Those seemed overwhelming. But
Care of it and protect it.
Gail shared with us the song that you sang when you got up there. What a wonderful world.
can you fucking imagine? You're in that tiny capsule, 5 other women or so, and you start singing What a Wonderful World because you're a singer. I worked so long as a waiter, and every job had somebody that thought they were on Broadway and would just sing all the fucking time, and that was so annoying. And this was a big restaurant. You're in a fucking castle, and she insists on singing. Like, how much longer we have? Only 9 more minutes. Jesus! They told
Can
me
we
this
just
would
have
be
the moment?
dangerous. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're looking out the fucking window going, whoa, it puts things into perspective. What a wonderful, shut the fuck up.
I feel even like, but like, imagine being all of these like women who are scientists at NASA, who have
Right.
had their funding cut, who've had their names removed from like displays,
Right.
who've had their name removed from websites about the history of NASA, and then to be like, look at these ladies, they got to go to space for 13 minutes. They're the real heroes of the space program. While you're like while you have your banker's box with your like children's photos because the funding has been cut.
Also know, Katy Perry, that you don't have to sing just because you're a singer. The other women there do things too. Gayle King wasn't interviewing you all. And then later in this interview, Katy Perry says, and you know what? When I was up there, I made my next set list for my tour. She goes, that hasn't been done before. Well, amazing. You're not putting together a Rubik's Cube.
You thought of what songs you have and what order to put them in.
Right. You could do it kind of anywhere.
Full world. Why was that important to sing that particular song?
Oh, it's important because I'm very pretentious. And
Yeah.
I've covered that song in the past,
Okay.
and
so it was good.
obviously, like my higher self is always steering the ship because I had no clue that
That's
one
true.
day I would decide to sing a little bit of that in space. But I think that it's not about me. It's not about singing my songs.
Oh,
Okay.
I was singing my song, which I practiced many times. I perform it live also, but it wasn't about me or the song. That's the thing of it all.
It was about everyone who wasn't me, who wasn't having a good time.
tried to sing a little bit of that in space, but I think that it's not about me. It's not about singing my songs. It's about a collective energy in there. It's about us. It's about making space for.
Oh, I guarantee. I did
man.
karaoke with a group of people. It was somebody's birthday, and the birthday girl. She believed that she was a real good singer that didn't go after it. So she's on stage singing. Other people would just sing along, watching. And then it's like, the end of the night. And so then the husband's like, anything you want to sing before we get out of here? And she's like, yeah, but can it just be me? And we're like, what the? Whoa, that's Katy Perry.
What? And the thing is, there's a way to do that. There's a way to be like, I just want to do one more solo song for everybody just to cap it off. Like, there's a way to like.
But it wasn't even, we jumped on stage and started singing along. We couldn't even sing. We had to take it in.
God.
It's about a collective energy in there. It's about us. It's about making space for future women and taking up space and
They're
belonging.
cutting the funding. They're cutting the funding for all the current women. All of the current women have had their funding cut. I'm not trying to be like, I'm not dismissing this because it's like, 6 women, 5 women went to space. It's more like they're ripping apart all of the other women who want to go to space right now and sending up space tourists.
They should do like what's that show, like American Idol, where you turn your seat around like a fucking weirdo? I think she might have been on it. X Factor, something like this.
Yeah.
So your job, we're finding the next astronaut, but the chairs aren't facing the stage, and the astronauts have to sing. And they goes, you know what? That's good. You're going up to space. What do you do?
As long as they don't have any of the skills that any other astronauts train for, no advanced degrees in physics. Listen, Sally Ride may have waited for her turn for years and worked very hard, but you know what? She was never on the Billboard charts, and therefore she doesn't deserve a seat.
And people like Katy Perry gets like so into it. She's like, and I wore diapers and I shat up there. It's like, it was 10 minutes, Kate. No, that's what astronauts do. I read that.
And it's about this wonderful world that we see right out there and appreciating it.
If you're wondering what it means, that song, What a Wonderful World, now you know.
Google, could you tell me what a wonderful world's about? It is about the world being wonderful. Oh,
okay.
How about that?
That'll be a good one to sing.
All for the benefit of Earth.
You have done so many incredible things in your life, selling millions of records, selling out stadiums. Where does this experience rate for you?
This experience is second to being a mom.
It's in between.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's in between the Left Shark and Roar.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why it was hard for me to go, because that's all my love right there. And I have to surrender and trust that the universe is going to take care of me and protect me, and also my family, my daughter. Cause like I am full up from being able to get that gift of being a mom, and to go to space is incredible. And I wanted to model courage and worthiness and fearlessness.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to go to space for the fearless women in your life as well, your sister and your mom. Yeah. What was their reaction when you got to see them after you got off the capsule?
I have only seen my mom, and I was like, "Are you okay, Mom?" She just knew. She knew. She was totally okay.
Yeah, she didn't give a shit. It was 10 fucking seconds.
It wasn't like the Challenger where like they saved, like it wasn't Apollo 13. It was a pretty low stakes mission.
You're not going to be those 2 people that they just saved where the jaw is 3 times the size because of the effects of outer space on a space station. Like you're going to be all right.
And again, I don't want to keep harping on this, but real women have died in the space program, both American and Russian.
Right.
I would say maybe they had more courage and bravery in their exploits than the suborbital trip that got close to space.
Right.
She was totally okay. And I'm sure she was speaking in tongues underneath her breath, as she does all the time. She would do that for anything else, but definitely today. But she was so super confident.
Well, your mom spoke in tongues. Okay. All right. Well, maybe it's not your fault.
Mom, she has this thing where she can see. I mean, even down to the name of like the capsule
being tortoise. I know you spoke to all of your fans about.
Oh my God. So picture Picture like you're at a dinner party, and when she was with Russell Brand, the two of them were there. You just wanted to slice your wrist, right? Oh, my babysitter has to leave early. Oh, mine too. Ours too. You're shitting me. Oh my God, appetizers didn't even come yet.
It's
I've
you
been
know
down
like
to-
you and I have both met. You and I both know celebrities, and
Sure.
whenever someone's like, "Oh man, it must be so interesting," and you're like, it's less so than you think."
Right.
Like it's a little less than you think. And you sometimes see these celebrity couples and you're like, I bet you guys being together for you was the least interesting thing in the world while also being the dumbest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
the name of like the capsule.
Being tortoise. I know you spoke to all of your fans about that the capsule's named tortoise, the feather on the side, that, the symbol of Blue Origin, all of those gave you confidence that this was the right thing for you to do, correct?
Yeah, because I just asked for a sign from the heavens, from my angels, and they're like, well, here's the feather, which is what your mother calls you. And if that's not enough, the capsule's named Tortoise, which is the second nickname that your mother calls you. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
I'm gonna guess there's a lot of things that your mom called you that makes it fit.
That's
That's
so
what I'm gonna
stupid.
guess. So the universe gave me a sign and went back in time and had them paint a feather on the capsule and name it Tortoise. Thank you, universe. So all this was in the making of me going up to space.
Man, the universe was really looking out for her while other people were being thrown in an El Salvadorian prison.
That's right.
Like the universe was really like, that's not important. We need to focus on making sure that this already successful woman gets a nice view out of a porthole.
Mike Drucker, 8 Emmy nominations.
Yes, sir.
Also, you won the Raiders Guild of America award.
Yep.
You're not a fucking joke. You're the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the real deals. There's many. I found out there's many real deals, and there's a lot of competition between the real deals.
You had a Tumblr, and you called that "It Seems the Tired Way."
Yeah.
And I remember you had like some ratings that were deliberately written terrible, and they were the funniest fucking thing. And one, I remember you were a detective, or this guy's a detective, and he's talking to himself like, "How's the detective? I put the gun in the drawer. I might need it later. My client was a fine woman with legs. She offered me 1,000 smackaroos." It was the greatest fucking thing. And another thing that Mike did I thought was so funny, he would take those pretentious New Yorker cartoons.
Yeah.
And, like you'd see like a person with a dog, and then both of them are thinking, I got to walk this thing again today, But Mike actually made them funny because he would take out whatever the caption was and add a caption from somebody's YouTube comment. So
Yeah.
so one of them was like a guy stuck on an island, fish are coming up to the island. He talks to the fish and he says, "Go fuck yourself, cunt, I'll wreck you. Nizzle 17. I love those, and I don't see them now.
I haven't done those in so long. Thank you for reminding me of those.
Thank
I
you.
used to do those a lot because like I would always, see those. And this was 10 years ago, so it was like still relatively new in this stuff. Where you'd see those comments, you'd be like, some of these are just so outrageously mean and weird that
Right.
it's funny to see them like in like sort of a milquetoast drawing of a business meeting where like like the real
Yeah.
punchline is something like this could have been a pigeon rather than a meeting, and
Right.
you're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. No, yours made more sense to me. When you worked for Jimmy Fallon,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
you're also a stand-up, have you done stand-up on Fallon?
I have not done stand up on Fallon.
This is offensive. This is offensive. You're like, Jimmy, I'm right fucking here, but I guess that would look too desperate.
It does look a little desperate, and like they threw me in a lot of stuff as far as like acting in pieces. Like I was in a ton of sketches, and I would do like little voices here and there. So I never felt like I was being like blocked out of it. It was more like I have the unfortunate quality of when I'm at a job of being like, I'm just here for this job. This is my job right now. I just got to
Right.
do the job. And so I'm a little bad at being like, hey, y'all want to put some stand up of mine on the air? And because I was there and because I was already being put on camera and stuff, it felt like one, I was being given a fair trade in what this relationship was. And two, especially back then, I was like new and I was young and I was still breaking in. I was like, I don't want to be this person who keeps asking for more from the table until they're like, you know what, you should leave the table.
I would have sabotaged other comedians. I would have said, "Oh, we moved your date." Hey, while I'm here, I would have watched somebody practice in front of Fallon with my arms folded. I guess I get it. But all right, as long as you don't have hard feelings, that's fine.
No.
Okay.
No. That honestly, I feel like that's one of those things where I probably should have tried harder, but I also like was happy with what they were giving me. So I wasn't like,
Okay.
oh, why won't you let me get paid $600 to say something funny in the audience?
When you worked at SNL, that was about 2 years, right?
Yep.
And what was your job?
I was a researcher assistant, specifically doing footage and photo research, although that sometimes extended to other stuff. But I helped the writers with research.
Would you research coffee? Would you research getting people their prescriptions?
That was as an intern. As an intern, I
Okay.
definitely did that.
Okay.
So when I was an intern, I definitely got coffee, prescriptions, picked up giant platters of food. Uh, Definitely, I think once got someone's weed from their weed guy downstairs.
Oh wow.
Not, I mean, they're rich enough where it wasn't shady, which sounds like a terrible thing to say,
Okay.
but like, there's a certain amount of wealth where someone's weed guy has more money than you do as a college
Gotcha.
intern.
Do you
But
think
yeah.
like when you give drugs for somebody, do you think like I kind of hope I'm arrested? They'll definitely have to hire me for a better job. They'll feel so
No.
guilty.
No,
Okay.
I think I was more like, man, if I get arrested, they'll know that I'm bad at this and they'll never want to hire me. I
What
think I had
job?
the reverse view.
What job? This is in your book that we'll get to, but what job was it that you were playing a video game? I think it was that Wii Tennis, something like
Yeah.
this. And you're like, I'm gonna kick their ass, and then they're gonna hire me for a better job. And instead, they're like, Yeah, you beat me. Now go get coffee.
Yeah, that was when I was that was when I was an intern
Okay.
at SNL. Because and this is still the case, but at 30 Rockefeller Center, very famous building, but like a block to the left, there is the Nintendo New York City headquarters store. So it's like this big Nintendo store, all this cool stuff, all this merch. And this was before I worked there as an employee. But, I would be bored at work or I'd, have 15 free minutes and I'd just walk over there and play stuff. And this was around the Nintendo Wii coming out. And if you remember, the news was going nuts for it. Like they were talking about like people in retirement homes
Yeah.
playing bowling and like all these people like it, now we're kind of like, oh, remember Nintendo Wii? That was a fun minute. But
Right.
for about a year or two, it was giant. And when it first came out, obviously SNL being a very rich, famous show, got one for free. And they were like, hey, we want to set this up. Can you do it? Man, we know who just talks about games all the time and
Right.
nothing else. And so me and one of their IT
They're
guys
looking at it like it's an infomercial. Like, oh, how do I plug it in? They're putting it up their ass.
or at least they're like, you know how to do it, and it's much easier to just hand it over to somebody.
Right.
And they'd heard the hype, so they wanted to see it demonstrated.
Right.
And so I set it up and I demoed it for them, but I was like 21 or 22, so I still didn't know my place
Right.
in the way of things where like I didn't know to be like, oh, hey guys, all right, let me just show you how to do this and I'll hand this to you. I definitely went a little hard
In your
trying
face,
to like
Tina.
show I was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you with like real cast members and then you're like flaunting?
Yeah. Yeah, like it was like, again, like Jason Sudeikis or Andy Samberg, like
Right.
Kristen Wiig, like that, and there was a ton of people gathered around. And I don't remember the specifics of like who played whom or who
Right.
played against me, but I just remember like being like almost that moment when you realize that you're being watched by rich and powerful people, but it's the lowest stakes thing, but at the same time,
Right.
that was probably the first time in my life I'd been in that situation where like all the eyes were on me and all of the eyes had like all of the keys to all of the doors in the world.
Right. And when they see how good I am at tennis, they'll make me a head writer, a cast
Right.
member. Who knows?
Automatically.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Because when you're an idiot young person and you're like, 20, you're like, of course, I'll just do this dumb thing and then immediately I'll be rich and famous.
I'll be on their shoulders.
I'll
Who
be
had
fine.
who had the most embarrassing prescription?
Oh man, I don't even remember what the prescriptions were. I would just go get it and come back. I mean, I think I got one for like an earache once. Like it wasn't anything like get me my dick pills.
Right.
It was more like, oh, these are human beings that have physical flaws like the rest of us.
The bodega has my prescription, and they hang them up in the back. If you could just give me 5 of those.
No, it was never even that cool. It was like, all right, my CVS is 20 blocks away. Could you go to that specific CVS? And you're like, yeah, I'll do that. Sometimes they're weird about it. Well, they know me. Okay, I'll pick up. But again, it was never like something shocking. It was like I think the one I remember the most was earache medicine, just because I was like, oh, he's got an earache, huh? Like almost like that. Just humanity of it was like if it was something crazy to me, or if it was like, oh, he's recovering from heroin, I'd be like, wow. But something else, something about the flip side of it just being earache, you're like, oh, we're all human.
You ever
We're
think
all
of
like,
calling the post for like a blind item? This SNL star has an earache. It was at Cipriani's on Tuesday.
just the least interesting. I would love the least interesting gossip column. Like that would be a fun Instagram account. Like
Right.
you would get tips where you're like, I heard that Taylor Swift was going to take one item off the shelf, put it back, and then took a different item, and you're like, okay, cool.
Sounds like Kristen Wiig's gout is clearing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you met Lord Michaels?
Yes, but like we've never had a conversation, even when I work there as an employee,
Does
which
he
is
carry
normal.
Does he carry himself in an intimidating way? Does he like that the stress is in the building and everybody has IBS, not as a joke?
Um, like it's not that he carries himself in an intimidating way. It's that I think he's sort of surrounded by people who are constantly warning you not to bother him.
Okay.
So it's less like it's not like, Darth Vader walking into a room and you just feel everything freeze. It's more like you've been talked to and warned so many times not to bother him that it almost feels a little more like that. But like we never talked or anything. You're not really encouraged to talk to him because he's super busy, especially when you're an intern.
Right.
And when I was a researcher or an assistant, I had no reason to talk to him because I didn't break anything. Basically, the only I was when I was there, I was at a low enough position where the only time I would ever have had to talk to him is if I had done something dramatically wrong. And so
Right.
I'm glad that we never interacted. But when I was at Tonight Show, he passed through once or twice. I think he'd like talk to the writers a little bit, but it was more like speaking to the writers. And we also got like a little nice you know,
How cute.
little ticket that says thanks LM on it for the first Tonight Show episode, which is Lauren Michaels. So that's nice.
Framed.
But we
Okay.
never had any close interactions.
When you did the video game stuff, um, taking it from Japanese to America, how do you get that job in the first place? Do you say, "Hey, I've been playing games my whole life. I know what's going on. Konnichiwa."
No, that definitely. If I had said Konnichiwa, they would have been like, we're not
Okay.
going to give this to you right now.
Okay.
The way I got it was I knew somebody who was already working there as a writer, and what he had told me was that they needed comedy writers. They were working on a comedy game, which turned out to be a game called Kid Icarus Uprising for the
Okay.
Nintendo 3DS. And a lot of video game writers then, it's less the case now, but it was much more the case 10 years ago or 11 years ago, were they were all people who wanted to write their like Lord of the Rings. They wanted to write their Final Fantasy. They wanted to write their big, epic, dramatic role-playing game. And I came from a background where I just wanted to write setup, punch, setup, punch, setup, punch. And they didn't really have a lot of that on staff. So I was recommended. I did, a writing sample. I sent them a bunch of pre-existing writing samples. And I got an interview and I kind of, I thought that I was like, this is cool, but they're not going to hire me. I'm not special. There's nothing about me that's interesting.
Do you send your high scores with your resume?
No.
Okay.
But here's the thing though, is like the fact that like when I got to the interview and I didn't just freak out actually helped me. Because apparently like a lot of people do go so hard where they're trying to prove that they love Nintendo so much that it's almost like going on a first date with someone who's like, you're the hottest woman ever. You're just the hottest woman. Like I would marry you right now if you told me you wanted to get married. I would be with you forever. I want you to have babies. Like when you come at it with that energy, a woman might be like, that's okay. We can move on.
I do a power play. I would wear my Atari badges, patches.
But like that wouldn't have been that bad. Like that wouldn't have been that bad. It's more like it's more bad when they want to know that you're a fan of the company. They want to know that you like video games, but they also want to know that you're not going to like start screaming when you meet, a 65-year-old Japanese legend who made Zelda. Like they kind of want you to have that middle ground, and luckily I was able to like prove that middle ground. I do think having experience at SNL helped because I'd met celebrities and I'd worked with celebrities, so I knew like how to be a normal human being when talking about
Right.
something that excited me.
What would you say is your biggest claim to fame when it comes to translating?
My biggest claim to fame is probably that I named a character in the Legend of Zelda series named Groose.
Okay.
It's it's in the game Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I wasn't one of the main writers on it. I was a main writer on different games, but they would have these big meetings where they were like, "Hey, we're trying to name all these new enemies or locations or vehicles or weapons or whatever." And they'd have these items on a big screen, sort of a projection screen, and all the writers and translators would sit in a conference room And it was super fun because you're just like shouting out names. Like it's almost like an auction house where you're like, drill dozer, drill attack, drillosity, and like people
Right.
are just like, nope, 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 nope. And for this Zelda game, they wanted to name these. The game is very sky themed, Skyward Sword,
Okay.
sky themed. They wanted all the new characters to have names that evoked birds. So they wanted it to sound like wanted characters to not have a bird name specifically, but something when it sort of felt like a name a bird could have while still being a person's name, which is tricky. And one of the characters is this big jerk, and they were like, we want someone who's like a name that sort of evokes he's a jerk, but we want like the bird to sound like it would be a jerk and the person to be a jerk. Like we just want it to like you to hear that name and kind of know that this guy's a douchebag.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And as people are pitching names, I was doing math in my head, and I was like, okay, the worst bird is a goose. Geese are just the worst, meanest asshole birds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like goose, and I was like thinking of names that fit with it. And I was like Bruce hit me because Bruce rhymes with goose. And I was also like, and Bruce is also like outside of Batman, but it's also like a name you kind of give to like a generic buff dumb dude. If you're like, hey, this is my drinking buddy Bruce, you'd be like, hey, how's it going? And so I was like, Bruce, goose, and I mashed them together for Groose. And it's so dumb, but it was one of those moments where I was like, what about Groose? And everyone was like, oh, that's it, we got it. And then we just moved on. It was like the best feeling in the world for like a kid who grew up playing Nintendo games. And it's such a small accomplishment.
Were you dating at the time? Did you bolt out of bed? Groose. Yeah, honey, Groose.
I think I was getting divorced at the time, so
really?
I think I rolled out of a cold bed and said Groose to an empty room.
You'll miss me now. I did Groose.
You'll miss me now. Half the photos on this wall missing.
In the Kid Icarus game.
Mm-hmm.
You got in the line. Who's the character that says, "I never learned to read"?
The main character, it's a character named Pitt. Even
Okay.
though people accidentally call him Kid Icarus because the game's called Kid Icarus,
Right.
but the character's name is Pitt, like
How
P-I-T.
dare they?
How dare they? How dare they?
And out of nowhere, you just threw that line in the game, and it stuck and went to other games too.
It went to other games. It was in Smash Brothers game, which, I mean, no one told me. So, like, when I first saw it, I was like, wait
Right.
a minute, it's fine. And it was very fun. It was really, really cool. And, part of the fun of Kid Icarus Uprising was it was one of the first Nintendo games where they really, really wanted the writing to be happening. The comedy games, I should say. One of the comedy games where the writing was happening as the game was being made. So it wasn't like we were just handed a big stack of pages and had to translate it and then give it back to Japan. It was like every day they were like, hey guys, we added a new scene. Here's the script in Japanese. Tell us what you think and tell us how to make it funny. And so it really was like a super collaborative relationship across a bunch of different languages. Like we would pass it to French Canadian translators for French, Latin American translators for Spanish. They would pass it on to Europe. So it was this really big, like literally international team effort to make a comedy video game.
All right. And so the book, Game Over, No Rematch, which is very funny. And I'm not into games as much as you are. It's still, though. Still, I dug it a lot. You wrote it during the pandemic. This is your King Lear, right?
Partially written during the pandemic, but yeah, my King. I wouldn't say my King Lear, but
it's funnier
sure,
than
it's
King Lear.
It is funnier than King Lear.
Say
It is
that
funnier,
much.
and it's longer. It's a better dollar-to-dollar value than King Lear.
The very first game system you got was a Nintendo. You were 3 years old.
Yeah.
It was given to your sister, but obviously, for the family.
Yeah.
Was it hard to get your hands on it, to get to play with two other siblings?
No. I mean, my brother was just a baby when we got it, so like
You were
was
3.
he? No, you know what? He wasn't even born yet. My brother was born a year later. So
Oh,
my
thank
brother
goodness.
my brother didn't even exist yet. And when my parents got it, they did even make it clear to my sister. They're like, this is for you, but this is really for both of you. Because my sister's birthday is at the very end of February and mine's at the very beginning of March.
Right.
So like a combined birthday gift isn't that hard to pull off, even when you're for a little kid. Because I'm like, I get it. My birthday's in 2 weeks. I'm getting an early birthday present. And so it was always for the both of us, and they had 2 controllers. Like we'd play Super Mario Brothers, and also like my sister had friends. My sister was more popular than me. Like she would hang out even when she was like 10, 11, 12. She'd like go and hang out with people and start to date boys. Well, it took a long time until I got to that dating part. So I had pretty free reign of the system a lot of the time.
We had an Atari my older brother wanted at school for selling the most during that yearly sell shit to your neighbors, Hey, it's
Yeah,
me
yeah, yeah.
again. Okay, what's this fucking game? But he took it seriously and got first place. But then it was hard to play sometimes because I had 4 siblings. And then we would try to beg. I was telling the story the other day. We were trying to beg my mom to play also, thinking she'd love it. Finally, she did, and she's playing Dig Dug, and she was so good at it. We never got the controller back. We were like, why did we?
I love that though. I like that she's like, no, I'm a master at this.
Yeah.
You guys
As soon
sit
as I
back.
die, yeah, you make dinner. So then she passed away, and I had a dream that us kids were watching her play Dig Dog, and she kept trying to give us the controller. And we were like, no, we don't want it, because we knew if she gave us the controller, she would die.
I mean, it's both a sad and a very sweet dream in
Yeah.
its own way.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you bought any of those recent they do collections now of those old video games? Like I bought Atari's 50th anniversary, and
Oh yeah.
ooh, they suck.
I like those collections.
I
You
like
mean the
maybe
games? You mean
3
the
to
old games?
I like maybe 3 or 5, but there's a reason they give you 500 games at once.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about the more recent Atari collections, like the Atari 50, is that there's a lot of history they have in there. So, like,
Yeah.
to me, a lot of these newer collections, I'm spending more time going through like old paperwork and like early versions and the video interviews with these guys who are like, and that's why Pong works. Like, to
Right.
me, that's been more fun. But yeah, definitely, there's so much. There's like 1 or 2 Atari games that are like still good, and then there's a lot where it is. You can see why we moved on.
Is it crazy? Tell me if this is a dumb question. So when we were kids, we know what these games were, Atari, Nintendo, and looking back on them, a little fucking ridiculous. And now the games we have now with an Xbox One or whatever the latest shit is, you can't tell if you're watching TV or a Madden game, if a
Yeah.
real game or a fake game. Then you have VR, that's fucking next level. So think about the kids being born now. Now kids being born 20 years from now or less,
Yeah.
what the fuck are they going to be dealing with? Is the game going to be like in their house without glasses on, without a TV set? And is that going to fuck with people? Or you're just used to it and it's the same thing as us having tanks and Pong?
I mean, I think it's going to be for them the latter. Like, whatever innovation comes in 20 years, if it's like the holodeck in Star Wars or
Right.
Star Trek, if it's like, I could imagine that sort of thing. Or like, one concept people have been working with are like rooms where the entire rooms are made of paneling and walls. So like, it looks like the room itself is moving with you, almost like a holodeck, but just the walls are all screens
Okay.
that kind of like rotate
Jeez.
with you. That said, we'll see the implementation of that because, even with VR existing now, like people still mostly play their games with, a video game system of some sort connected to a screen, whether it's a computer screen or a TV. So, but I think it'll be normalized. People will be normal about it. I think people will be like us will be like, that's not the way fun is. Fun
Right.
is different than when I was a kid. You guys don't understand.
We kicked the can.
We kicked the can. We kicked the can, then we tied a string, and that was our cell phone.
Right.
But I don't know. I think there's going to be like fun, new, immersive ways things happen. I also think that whenever someone tries to predict exactly what's going to happen in 20 years with fun things, it's always wrong. Like I'm sure like
Right.
20 years ago, people were like, so what is 2025 going to look like? And they'd be like, everyone's going to be living inside of a computer. Not even virtual reality. You're just going to download yourself to a computer. And you're like, nah, okay, that's not going to happen.
It's just going to be a whole new way to yell the N-word at a stranger. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's all it is. All the future will be like new ways to feel bad.
I play VR and it's like, oh, it's kind of the same, I guess. Oh boy,
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
8-year-old kids. Woo! Yeah, I remember I saw this documentary on the Madden games, and a real football player is like, "Oh, you think the gridiron's tough? Play a game with an 8-year-old. Holy shit, that's fucking
Yeah.
crazy." Do you play with strangers, and do you find it too much? I do. I find it too much.
No, like usually when I play online, I'm just playing like with my brother or
Yeah.
a couple of my friends. I'll play fighting games sometimes with strangers just because those are more fast. If I'm playing Street Fighter 6 or something, a match against a stranger will last 5 minutes. So that's something that you can sort of do, just knock out some time. But something like Madden or NHL, where I just don't want to spend 20 minutes playing some stranger who I'm going to lose to ultimately. I'm more
Right.
than fine at being my brother.
Either the stranger kicks my ass because it's all they play, whatever game.
Yeah.
Madden, Call of Duty, or they rage quit. I'll play
Yeah.
Madden and I'll get 14-0 winning, and they unplug. Like I think you had a chance still,
Yeah.
and it happens. It happens all the time. And then of course the N words fly. I can't play with that.
It's so crappy. It's so fucking annoying. It's just annoying and it's shitty because you're like, you also and whenever someone's saying that, they're either 12 or 49.
Yes.
Which is, and you can't tell which is worse.
Right. Right.
You know?
I was saying this the other day, but you know the game Titanfall, first person shooter.
Yeah.
You're this dude. You can get in a robot sometimes, both ways. Of course, you're killing people. And I happen to be good at that. I'm usually not good at these, but I was good. And I'm killing all these people. And every time I killed somebody, I went into the mic. Did I do that? Over and over again. Bang, did I do that? Bang, did I do that? Bang, did I do that? And it really got on their nerves, so I kept doing it. And then this dude's like, stop saying that. I'm like, you're yelling the N-word all over the place, but my did I do that is too much. Fuck you.
It's so funny. It's the trolling is so weird because they're like, I'm trolling you. I'm saying I'm being racist.
Where's your mom?
And then you say something that just annoys them a little bit, and they're like, stop! You're making this not fun for me.
Right.
Okay.
I just want to use the bad word for Spanish people. You're being weird.
That's genuinely the way some of those people think.
Do you? What are your favorite kinds of games? Are they shooter games, or are they more like you're putting a museum together?
More like I'm putting a museum together.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like shooter games. I own a ton of shooter games, but I think like if I get like games like like you're saying, 2 Point Museum, where you put together a museum, is one of the games I've been playing a lot lately.
What do you do? Like, hey, the gift shop's gonna be half off today.
I mean, kind of like you're like, oh, I built a gift shop. But I need to hire a staff member to put in there. And I just unlocked a new type of thing to sell in there. But I'm going to put that gift shop next to this display that has a lot of foot traffic. I mean, it plays a lot like SimCity. If you played SimCity or The Sims, same sort of thing. But you're building a museum, man. And I love museums.
You mentioned in your book that, how true is this? Because I never really played SimCity. I, of course, got rid of the pool ladder like a piece of shit. After they're swimming, so they can't get out of it. You mentioned like you keep having kids in SimCity, and they take your kids away because you weren't taking care of them well. Did I read that right?
Yeah. Whenever I had kids in The Sims, I would I was just very bad at raising children in The Sims, and this was the first Sims. I think like the later Sims games kind of like eased it up a bit, but
right.
like I'd be like, I gotta go to work. I'm my character's an actual astronaut, unlike Katy Perry,
Right.
And so I gotta go to work for my 9 to 5 as an astronaut, and I'd leave the baby at home, which I've learned since is frowned upon.
Right.
And
you would think NASA would have a program.
You would think so.
Right?
But in the world of The Sims, NASA did not. And
Okay.
eventually the cops would come and take my baby, and I'd be like, and also like if I remember correctly, there wasn't like a family court in The Sims, so it wasn't like I gotta like clean up a bit and get the baby back. It was just sort of like, I guess like we could try for a new baby.
They don't take away someone's uterus.
Yeah,
Right. You just got to touch diamonds, I think, right?
kind of. Yeah.
Did it make you think maybe I shouldn't have kids in real life?
I mean, I joke about that in the book. I think more like growing up in kind of a tumultuous environment and just having like a brain that is constantly just in a fucking tornado is what made me not want to have kids. But it definitely, as a kid playing that, being like, I don't think I really have a lot of child rearing instincts in me.
Right.
But, I joke that that's the reason, but it was more like something as a kid that made me think about it, where I was just like, I'm not even that interested in having children,
Right.
am I?
This isn't getting me excited. Do you ever play goofy games like I played, I remember Grand Theft Auto. I think it was San Andreas, and it's understood your character got out of jail and you're coming into this town.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but there's a red light in front of you before you get into town and you're kind of stuck in traffic. And I'm like, I just got out of fucking jail. I wait until the light turns green. Next thing you know, cars are running into me, honking at me. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this town. Let's blow it up. But at first, I'm like, we got to follow the rules at first.
I don't want to go back in, man. I can't go back. I got a wife.
Serious.
Yeah.
The number one movie in theaters right now is a Minecraft movie.
Mm-hmm.
You've played Minecraft, right?
I have, yeah.
What have you built?
I in my book I have a list of different square-shaped shacks I've built
One square
because I'm very
shack,
bad at
two square
square shack,
shack.
stack of square shacks, square shack stack of square shacks. It it goes into full tongue twister territory. I like Minecraft, but I was never one of those people that was like, I'm gonna spend 300 hours rebuilding my hometown in it. I was more like
Right.
someone who's like, I want to see how deep a hole I can dig and then quit.
Why do kids love it? Because it's so stupid, so
I think
simple.
here's the thing is I think because it ranges from being something stupid and simple like I could just blow up something and see how it looks to it can become very, very intricate if you invest a lot of time and energy into it, where like people build working calculators inside it using different little switches and they do build these replicas of like cathedrals. So it's one of those things where you can either be very dumb with it, turn off your brain and do nothing, or it can be the greatest freeform Lego set of all time.
If
And I
I
think
if you work hard on a cathedral, can I go over there and blow it up?
uh usually they'll have like limits on that, but I'm sure like you could do a clone of that save file and do that. Like you could sort of do like
No, no,
a
I want to blow up yours.
if it was mine, I would totally let you blow it up. If it
Oh,
was
thank
mine,
you. Oh,
you could
that's
absolutely
sweet.
blow it up. Yeah.
Thank you. I do remember the game. I've never played Minecraft, and I'm making fun of it. But do you remember Second Life?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I played that, and I remember Adam Curry, the MTV VJ, and he was early on in podcasting, and he took the Keith and the Girl feed, put it on his website, changed the meta tags, and started selling ads on it. So I have a real problem with Adam Curry.
Oh, wow.
I found out Adam Curry had like a home in Second Life where he'd have podcasters go in, and these fucking weirdos, they're like they hit the dance emoji and music emoji,
Yeah.
and like they really think they're at a party somehow. Like, okay.
Of course.
So Adam Curry had to show that he's a big deal. So he had a helicopter at his place. He had a Ferrari at his
Naturally.
place. And then I figured out how to take his helicopter and turn it upside down and put it on top of his mansion and spray paint his house. And people are like, "You asshole!" I'm like, "It's not real. Who gives a fuck?"
None of this is real. None of this is real,
It was
folks.
the funniest thing while it lasted. So I guess I could understand Minecraft a little bit. Are you going to see the movie? It's number one.
I'll probably see it when it comes out on streaming, just because it sounds right now like what I'm glad it's doing well because I think that the more video game movies that do well, the more that I might get a chance to make one.
Okay.
But like also it sounds like in the theaters there's this thing called a chicken jockey, which is sort of a rare occurrence in Minecraft. And it's a meme because it's kind of rare. And in the movie, it's sort of like added a meme on top of a meme.
Yeah.
So now kids are like literally throwing their popcorn into the air and
A
like
little square green monster is on top of a square chicken.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of these videos when they show it on the screen, people yell "chicken jockey." They
They go
obviously
nuts.
talked about to each other and throw popcorn, throw soda. I saw one they put icy, the
Yeah.
frozen drink into a big bucket of popcorn through that so it gets all over everybody. It's fucking crazy. And the other day I saw The Amateur and Warfare at the movie theater, and there's a sign at my Regal Theater and it says, "Do not throw your popcorn or drinks. You will be removed from the theater without a refund." And I said, "Is this because of Minecraft?" And the guy goes, "Yep." And I go,
Yeah.
Is it tough?" And he goes, "Yes." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, shit, sorry." Yeah, I guess it's nuts everywhere. It's
It's
worse
nuts
than
everywhere.
It sounds worse than when they showed Jackass. When
Yeah,
they showed
I think
the
it
movie
is.
Jackass, we just hit each other in the penis. But we weren't throwing popcorn and soda all over, making a fucking mess. That's
Yeah. And I also think, like not to be a dying old person, but
You could.
there's the fact that you can record yourself doing it and get popular off doing it
Right.
has not discouraged people from doing it. Like the fact that you
Right.
can get like some internet clout off being someone who went to one of these screenings and went apeshit doesn't prevent people from going apeshit.
Do you have a game if you were picked to make a movie,
Yeah.
a video game movie? Do you have a game in mind already?
Well, I once tried to pitch Robotron 2084, which is an old arcade game.
Okay.
And it was because it's an old arcade game about a guy who accidentally makes AI happen and it ruins the world, and then he feels really bad about it and tries to basically like save humanity to get his reputation back.
Oh, it's like a future Oppenheimer.
Kind of, yeah. Like imagine like Despicable Me mixed with Oppenheimer.
Right.
And
By the way, did you see Oppenheimer? He
I did.
builds the atomic bomb, and then he goes, "What did I do? What do you think you fucking did? You knew what you did."
He didn't. Sometimes we all make decisions that take years and years and years of development, and then think, was that a good idea?
Right. Oh, a bomb.
Right.
But what were you saying? I'm sorry.
I forget.
The
gone.
the Robo movie you want to make?
Oh, right. Basically, it was they really liked what I had, but they were kind of like, our problem is that no one knows what this is, and I was like, you know what? That is a fair problem to have.
Right.
And so it didn't go anywhere, but that was like a dream project recently. There's an old Sega Genesis game that has an intentionally funny name, so it sounds gross, but they know it does, which is called Seaman. And it's
Okay.
about like this weird frog that you raise, but it has a human face and it begins talking to you. And it's kind of like a weird, I would say like science-y sci-fi horror game that's also kind of friendly. And it's a super fun, weird game. I've poked around about trying to make it into a movie and I've kind of hit a few walls on it. I know who owns the rights. It's the people who own the rights are kind of like, we don't know if we want to really invest in this one at the moment.
Right.
But that would be one of them just because it's so bizarre and weird that I think it would make a fun movie outside of just being what the video game is.
I just bought the .coms now. That's exciting. The you watch Black Mirrors?
Yeah, I haven't seen the latest season though.
The you saw the Bandersnatch. There was Choose Your Own
Yeah.
Adventure, but it got it ended up getting too fucking goofy. First, you're picking what cereal you want to eat, and then you're picking if you're a ninja and you want to fight your therapist to the death. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I dated somebody that thought they were watching that episode. They picked the wrong episode. They were watching alone. They picked the wrong episode, and they thought they were making choices with the remote. That's when I should have broke up, right?
I mean,
Shouldn't have, it wasn't a cute story, right? I should have been
yeah,
like, I'm outta
you know
here.
what? I kind of feel bad. I'm like, oh, that's sad.
Well, there's a semi-sequel in this new season to Bandersnatch. You don't make your choices. I guess, they're over that gimmick. But the designer plays a game kind of like what you would call farming, and you build these little creatures, and then in the show, not that I'm giving anything away, the creatures, keep multiplying and they take over. There's a game now. If you stay till after the credits, they give you a QR code. You can just find it on your own. Since I'm telling you, Black Mirror Throglets, and you can play it on your phone, and it's a little creepy. Yeah.
I like that though. I like that they're trying to expand like that. I like it.
Number one movie, a Minecraft. Oh, by the way, speaking of game movies, The Legend of Zelda is going to be a movie, 2027.
Yeah.
Live action.
Live action.
All right. Hey, when they do these, like when you had your idea to do this Robotech, that's Japanese, of course, right?
Robotron actually wasn't. Robotron was an American game.
If they do Japanese movies based on like cartoon shows, that's what I was thinking. In this live action, would they add a lot of woo, huh? These Japanese cartoon characters are always fucking surprised. Excuse me. Whoa, hi. Do you notice that too? They try to make it realistic, but it's like,
I think it's sort of the equivalent of like, because they reacted a lot like that in Japanese comics, and a lot of those shows are based on comics. I think it's almost like when old American superhero cartoons still had like bam, pow, and you're like, do we need to show the bam and the pow when we're seeing him punching him? And I think it might be kind of like a similar vein of like over emoting over. Yeah.
What? Hey, Keith, what? Number one movie, Minecraft movie. Number two, The King of Kings. What? By Angel Studios, and they do religious movies that kind of a flash in the pan, but I mean number two is still number two.
Yeah.
When these religious movies come out that have a real agenda, these are the ones that work with churches to sell out blocks of tickets and hateful agendas, if you ask me. And then you find out what actors are in these movies, and a lot of times it's famous actors. Do you ever think, really, you, Pierce Brosnan?
I mean, here's the thing though, is doing a voice role in a movie, especially when you're famous and likely have your own sound booth already after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's like, hey, Keith, I'm going to pay you $2 million for 5 days work. It's not going to be something you care about. Don't worry. We're not going to make you do anything racist, but it might be something that you're a little weird about, but don't worry. It's not even your face. You're probably going to be like, I'll pretend to be Pontius Pilate for a handful of days. in
What's
my
it?
home.
It's also weird to me, but though when it is your face, I was watching this new John Hamm show, Your Friends and Neighbors. I'm
Yeah.
liking it a lot, but anyway, the ex-wife of John Hamm in this movie, in this show, is Amanda Peet.
Hmm.
I think she was in the whole 9 yards, I believe. And
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
looking, what else is she in? And I see she's in a movie called Playing a Person, or probably herself, The Atheist Delusion. Having to prove the existence of God to an atheist is like, this is the description, is like having to prove the existence of the sun at noon on a clear day. Oh, okay. One of these. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yet
I mean,
millions are embracing the foolishness of atheism. And I'm like, not you, Amanda Pete. Not that I know you. I don't know the Pete's, but I thought I liked you. And now, not knowing if there's a God or not is the same as there's a tree.
yeah. I mean, and for some people too, it's like if you're not working for a while and someone's offering you,
I
because
guess.
those productions do. I'm not. That's not excusing it. I'm just saying sometimes it's not necessarily like I need to make this for Christ. Sometimes it's like, hey, you need money and they have
Right.
it, so you have a choice on your hands.
Well, the John Hamm's character robs houses because he's down on his luck. I'd sooner do that than be in the
That's fair.
atheist delusion and say,
That's fair.
How do I know there's a God? Look at the sun. Hello. The atheist
I'm
delusion pulls back the curtain and reveals what is going on in the mind of those who deny the obvious. This is my dad. It introduces you to a number of atheists who will follow as they go where the evidence leads, find a
Yeesh.
roadblock, and enter into a place of honesty that is rarely seen on film. Do you
What are you gonna do?
you're who's Jewish in your family?
My dad.
Your dad, and is your mom Catholic or not?
My
Just
mom's
not
Catholic.
Jewish.
My
Yeah.
mom's Catholic. Yeah.
You just celebrate Passover?
No, we did when my dad's parents were alive because I grew up weirdly. We were like the kids were raised Catholic, but all of my mom's family was out in Chicago and in Florida where we grew up. All of my dad's family lived, so we'd do like Passover and we'd do like like we wouldn't celebrate Hanukkah like get 8 gifts, but we'd like go over their house and they'd light the candles and sing the song. But as far as like the actual religion goes, we were raised Catholic.
Okay. I remember in your book you brought up Passover for a little bit, and you're like, "That's where the grandpa's like, okay, and we can skip this
Skip,
part a
skip
little
ahead.
bit."
Yep, that was my
and move
grandpa.
on. I saw this
Skip,
online.
skip, skip.
I saw this online. Somebody in Egypt was putting blood on the door, and it says the story of Passover, where an all-knowing, all-loving God needs help to kill the right babies. You got to put blood on your door so you can find out if you believe in them or not. All
Because the
right.
sign says not this one.
So Nintendo got you into games in the first place.
Yeah.
We had the Atari, but then my brother apparently got lazy, didn't sell anything else. We never got a Nintendo. But the commercials were so good that I got Nintendo Magazine and still never had any of the games. I can picture punching out Mike Tyson. That'd probably be
Yeah.
cool.
Sometimes you had to do that. Like when I was a kid, like I remember when the Super Nintendo came out and there was no chance I was getting it for a while where I'd like literally cut out pictures and like put them in a scrapbook.
Yeah.
Like literally
funny.
scrapbook like a vision board of what games I wanted.
I do remember Duck Hunt when I finally got my hands on it. Was the coolest, And I do like you did. I'd go right up to the fucking screen. Fuck
Right
that
up the
dog.
screen. You just hold it up there and fire.
Hey, I'm the dog. You didn't get him. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Who's gonna feed you later?
Right.
Did your parents fight a lot? I heard
Yeah.
I read like a line or two, and did they put you was video games an escape? Was it like that show HBO's Dream On where the TV now he sees everything as old TV shows because TV was his parents? Is there anything there?
Yes and no. The problem is most of the video games were in the living room where they fought. So it wasn't like,
Okay.
they were an escape in the sense that they gave me more places to think about and imagine. Like I really liked playing, Zelda, but I also liked thinking about it and imagining myself in it and drawing pictures from it. So in that way, it gave me like another thing to think about and escape to in sort of an imagination sense. And I had a Game Boy, which helped, but a lot of like the games I really wanted to play were in like ground zero of where those giant conflicts were happening. So it wasn't like, go to your room and play the Super Nintendo. It was more like me being like, man, I really would love them to stop shouting at each other so I could play some
Right.
Super Nintendo.
Has any family members or friends got upset about anything you wrote in the book?
No, I mean, I showed it to because my dad's probably the one I'm most critical of, and I showed it to him before it came out, just because I was like, not like to be mean. I was like, hey, I
Right.
wrote these things. I know you might not be happy about it, but I wanted him to see it, so it wasn't like I was like releasing an entire book to slap him in the face by surprise. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
And I didn't see anything in there that would make me think that, but that's the thing, you never see it coming. I remember
yeah,
on Keith and the Girls, sometimes I'll say something, like, I might get in trouble for this, but it's a funny story. I think I'll risk it. And nothing happens there. It was something else innocuous that I said that got me in trouble.
exactly.
I'm like, what? It's like my dad, when we were talking, got upset. Like, did I hear that you said on your show I didn't pick you up from extracurricular activities? I'm like, did you hear on my show I said you beat me with the Encyclopedia S volume and had me literally dig holes outside as punishment? But no,
Right.
it bothers you that you were what?
It's those small things that where it's like, I don't remember doing that. And you're like,
Right.
okay, but you do remember the bad things though?
Right. Right. I like the story a lot where you're a kid and you loved Mario, of course, and you
Yeah.
made your own Mario costume.
Yeah.
And you had the mustache, you had the describe the outfit.
It was basically like really loose fitting overalls that I found, a red shirt, like a red sports hat that was probably from some random sports team. Maybe it was like the Heat or the Miami Heat or
Right.
something. Um, and then stole some of my dad's work socks, some of his black work socks, cut a very bad mustache. Elmer's glued it to my face.
Jesus.
And because this was when Super Mario 3 came out, he could sometimes turn into sort of raccoon Mario, so he had a
Sure.
raccoon tail. So I took a piece of cardboard and a Sharpie, cut it into what probably looked more like a doo-doo than it did a tail. And like drew like little stripes on it to make it a raccoon tail, and then I duct taped it to my ass. And so it was this really DIY, but by a very dumb child Mario costume. And then I went to try to impress one of
And,
my elementary school crushes with
and
it.
to be
And
clear,
yeah,
this isn't Halloween. This isn't a
no,
costume party.
middle of the year.
You're just gonna go to this girl's house. They happen to be twins. You like them both. You won't mind which one you get, and go, huh? And they're gonna come all over the place and
Yeah.
just be like, oh
Well,
my
they were
god.
young. They were
They
going
were
to
young. They were
smile all
young.
over the place. They
They
were
would
like I was prepubescent. They were
okay. They would have
prepubescent.
blushed. They would have blushed.
They
All
would
over
have
the
blushed
place.
all over the place.
Is it rude of your? Did your parents see what you're doing and be like, what are you doing? And don't.
No, they didn't. I mean, I don't know if they definitely didn't stop me. I don't think they knew what I was doing because my dad would never let me cut up one of his socks for a mustache.
Right. He'd let you
Um,
embarrass yourself, but
yeah, you know. So I don't think they knew I was doing it. I think it was one of the because my parents were working all the time. Like
right.
my family struggled with money when I was little. So like my parents were out of the house a lot, and so a lot of, it was a lot of like making fun on your own, but it was also a lot of like, well, I don't know how to talk to a girl. I don't have anyone in my life who will teach me
Right.
how to talk to a girl. I guess I'll dress up as Mario.
And so you go to these girls' houses. The mom answers the door, and what's she say to you? Like, turn the fuck around right now.
It's almost like the look on her face was almost like, do you need help? Like I think it was almost like the way she looked at me is I'm sure like when like a kid who's been like trapped by his parents in a basement for 20 years
Right.
comes to the door asking for food, and it's like, oh my god, something's clearly wrong here. And then I was like, hey, are your daughter's home? And she was like, do you know them? And I was like, oh yeah, we're friends.
We're friends.
We're friends. Really, we weren't. We were in the same like kindergarten or first grade
Right.
class together or whatever. And so they come to the door and they were super polite. Like they kind of, when I said it was Mario, they were like, oh right, we've heard of this character Mario. Because
Right.
this is still the very early 90s when Mario's big, but he's not like, you know, as big as he is now. And they were just sort of like, oh, okay. It was almost like I think the reaction of me dressing like that to those girls is if I had dressed like that to the DMV, where it's almost like,
Right.
okay, but how can we help you? Like, what do you? We understand you're dressed as something, but what do you need from us?
Right.
And I could tell they weren't like Like I could tell that it wasn't like them. There weren't hearts floating over their heads. Like their eyes weren't, like bulging out and being like, "That's what a cute boy is." And so I think I just aborted the mission. I was kind of like, I mean, if you guys ever want to play Mario, let me know. And then kind of like backed away.
Did you jump away? Like, you know what I mean?
I honestly, I wish I was that smart to have done that. I think I'm more like, because it wasn't like a rejection, because a rejection requires the active rejection. It was more like It was more like I had done something that no one wanted to talk about again.
Are their names real in the book, and do you hope that they know it's them?
Their names are not real in the book. They're similar names, but the legal department was like, because I genuinely don't remember their last names.
Why is
so
that
there
a
was no
legal
way to-
thing, by the way? Who cares what their fucking names are?
I don't
Who
know.
cares about the story?
I kind of agree with you, but it also like their real names weren't like load lifting, or load bearing things in the story. So I was like, yeah, I don't mind changing their names.
Right.
I basically changed the names of anyone who wasn't a direct family member or a public facing person. Like I didn't change the names of Nintendo people because their names are in credits of video games.
Would it make your day if they read the book and be like, I know it's us? And that was adorable. You
Yes,
misremembered.
yeah, yeah. It would surprise me if they remembered it, or remembered who I was.
I
even,
wouldn't have
'cause
forgot that.
but I would love that. I would honestly love if they reached out. Like I'm doing a reading in at my childhood Barnes and Noble at the end of this week, just because
Right.
it's also a chance to visit my folks. And it would be so funny if they showed up and they were like, "It was us." I don't think that's gonna happen though.
They dress up as two Bowsers, Bowser twins. I remember I was trying to, it was probably the same age. What was this, like 5 years old, first grade or something? Or
Yeah, probably like 6 or 7. Yeah.
I was on the bus and this girl, Katina Showman, was there, and she's asking me something like, what were we supposed to read today in school or something? And I was attracted to her. So I did this clever thing of going, what? I can't hear you. What do you say? I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was an early nagger. I don't know,
Right.
And so like I can't hear you. And she goes, how do you know when I'm talking if you can't hear me? And I'm like, you are the smartest fucking woman alive.
This is why I love you. This is why I love
my
you.
brain. I love you. And I hope she read that in my book. And
Yeah.
she says hi. The you had an apartment as an adult and you turned it into a full-on arcade.
Yes, I did.
You had what describe it? Describe the apartment.
So I during COVID, I was living in a one-bedroom apartment, and you know, I I was kind of stuck inside. I was living, by myself, and I'd just gone through a bad breakup a little bit earlier, and so not only was I isolated, but I was kind of like lonely, and it was that COVID time when we were all kind of like early on freaked out, like not just like the I can't do anything or like when's this gonna end, but those
Right.
early couple months when you were like, do I is toilet paper now hard to get forever? Like you
Right.
just do, you when we really didn't know how the world was changing. Not we knew that it was, we just didn't know how. And I kind of started to go stir crazy. Like I'd leave my place, I'd walk around the city and stuff, but like I wasn't going over anywhere. And I couldn't like go to I couldn't go to like a barcade or something or anything. And
By the way, it was for those not in the know. New York City looked like Vanilla Sky.
yeah,
You can
Yeah.
walk anywhere, and it was, if you had the balls to walk, and it's crazy.
yeah. And so I just started like I moved a ton of furniture around. I'd spent years collecting, you know, small everything from 6 inch to foot high mini arcade machines that work. And I just like had them in boxes because some of them were at my desk at work before the pandemic hit. But I actually like reorganized furniture, changed the lights, set up projectors, like made myself a pizza and kind of threw together using like Bluetooth speakers and projector screens and tables a little arcade. And it was this nice moment where I kind of like did something kind of crazy and kind of weird, but it also helped save my sanity because it gave me like a sense of control. And it also really did feel for that moment like I was somewhere else. I wasn't just in the same room that I'd been stuck in for 2 months going nuts. It suddenly felt like a completely different space. And it was something really nice.
That sounds beautiful. And then finally, you bring a woman over, and she says,
It's just like, this is weird, man. This is
"This is fucking weird."
This is fucking weird. This is pretty fucking weird. Like, always very supportive, but it was definitely the first woman that I showed it to was kind of like, okay. Like, kind of like they thought it was cool that I did something creative in this way,
Right.
but also were like, that is a lot of little arcade machines.
And your background, I see a lot of arcade machines, right?
Those are some of them, yeah.
I see, a Bowser figurine, all this stuff. Did you always know, hey, the person that's going to be with me she has to be into this shit, or would sometimes you put blankets over shit until you figure out what somebody's into or not? Kind of like when I was in my apartment, my first apartment, I didn't do the dishes. I put a blanket over the sink. Did you do it like that, or did you go, hey, you got to know who I am?
Um, it was more like, hey, you got to know who I am. But, like the way I have these things, like this is sort of like my office working area. So it's where I keep most of the nerdy stuff together. Like I'm not one of those people where every room
Okay.
has to be like maximum branding. Like I
Right.
don't need like an IP poster in every room.
Okay.
And I'm always very open about it. And also, if you Google me, there's obviously a ton of shit about me involving games.
Right.
Um, and so it was never, but it was never like a you have to be into this sort of thing. It was like a I would like it if you didn't shit on this. I will never force
Okay.
someone I'm dating or in a relationship with to play something. And if they're not interested at all, I won't even force them to watch me play. I am more than happy to make it my own thing if it's not their thing. It's like my one request is don't be a dick about it. That is like my one big request.
Are you with somebody now?
But yeah,
Okay. Are you married now?
no.
Now the divorce you talked about, that marriage, you had a Super Mario Brothers themed wedding.
Yeah.
And you had the Super Mario theme music. You'd walk down the aisle too. I think if I read right.
Yeah.
Candy in boxes with question marks on them.
Yeah.
Mario Kart people can play. Could you? So if you do you want to get married again, and or you'll just see what happens? And if so, can you do another theme wedding, or do you feel like that's ruined? Do you know what I mean?
Um, I don't want to do another themed one just because I feel like once you've done one, that's it. Like
Okay.
I don't want to, and not even like it's a jinx thing. It's like if I did a Star Wars themed wedding and I got divorced, I wouldn't be like, oh great, well, time to do Star Trek. Like I don't, it just seems like you get your one, and if you do more than one, maybe I should just throw more birthday parties rather than weddings.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm okay. I'm okay if I do or not. It's not like I'm not someone who wants kids, so it's not like a big like I need to like hit this life thing and then I need to hit this life thing.
Right.
I think if it happened, I'd be okay with it, but it also isn't some big like it's not a big active goal. I almost feel like I got that like life moment, and so I'm not like it's not that I'm not desperate for it. It's almost just that I'm like, yeah, if it happened, that'd be
Gotcha.
great, but I'm not like fighting for it.
How long were you married?
About a year and a half.
Oh, nice. You knew. Hey, so that's what, like 2 weeks good?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that can I ask what would you say you did wrong?
Um, I mean, we got married way too young, and we kind of when I say we weren't serious about it, I just think we didn't put a lot of thought into it. There had been a lot of pressure on us, and we didn't live together at first after we were married
Hmm.
because um, she and I mean, she had some stuff in her life that required her to not necessarily do that immediately, and I was in New York. And my comedy career was starting to take off, so I couldn't necessarily like move to where she was taking care of some personal stuff immediately. And it kind of just started on a really bad note that way. The
Hmm.
honeymoon wasn't that like even the honeymoon kind of was like
Hmm.
maybe we should have dated a little longer before this. And eventually I fell in love with someone else. I did tell her that, and by the time we tried to even fix it, it was kind of like this isn't working, and we got divorced. But I mean, it happened over a fast enough timeline that it was very sad, but it didn't feel like it was like it kind of felt like immediately we knew there was a mistake. It just could have ended a little better than it did.
Did your dad reach out to her after to see if she's okay?
No,
No.
no, thank God. Although, like for years after, he'd be like, "Hey, how's she doing?" And I'd be like, "We haven't talked in a very long
Right.
time, pops. I'm sorry." And he's like, "So should I keep sending them Christmas letters?" And I'll be like, "It's probably for the best if you don't.
Yeah. Well, for what, dad?
It's probably if you." My dad wasn't interested in her. It was more like,
Right.
I don't understand. Like he's a gentleman.
Right. You the and how long have you been with this new girlfriend?
For a little while. I don't really want to get
Okay.
into it too much.
Is this the same one that you were in love with that you just mentioned that you were falling for?
No,
Oh, okay. Look at you. Hello. Okay. All right.
but
Um,
if we could you know.
Hey, I don't give a fuck. I don't even
Yeah.
give a shit. But in the book, you do talk about the wedding and that your brother gave a speech. I thought was very funny. The from what was it from? Any Given Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. He
Al
gave the speech
Pacino
from
speech.
yeah. Any Given Sunday, and he replaced every mention of the word marriage with divorce.
That's and
I mean, sorry, football with marriage. Every mention of football with marriage, and every mention of losing with divorce.
did somebody have to take him aside and be like, "Hey, for next time,
Yeah.
here's how you give
I mean,
speeches."
all of the comedians who were at the wedding loved it. I
Sure.
loved it. All the comedians there loved it. But like he was like a lot of the people who were not comedians there were like, "That's not how you do that. Like you got to give. Like I can't believe you did that. You got to give something more heartfelt than that." And one, it was super funny, and two, like
Right.
my
Well, I
brother
can't go
doing
back
that
and
is
do
more
it.
heartfelt.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
and also it's done right, and that's the kind of person I am. You being into these games, you were into Dungeons and Dragons, of course, right?
Yeah.
My older brother was into it, and I didn't really know anything about it. And but we went just to get out of the house. We went to some kind of convention in another town, and I was playing with strangers, and I had a ball. I had
Yeah,
a
it's
ball.
really fun.
And I remember them explaining it to me, and they're like, "There's not much to explain. You build your character, and then and I'm like, I want to be smart and strong." They're like, "Okay," and I'm like, "Oh, you could do that? What do you
Yeah.
think of this shit?" Okay.
Yeah.
And then they go, "Okay, you walk into a castle. What do you want to do?" I'm like, "Well, what can I do?" And they go, "Anything you want."
Anything. Yeah,
And
anything.
I go, "Okay." I spit on the wall. They go, "Okay." And I'm like, "Well,
Okay.
what happened?" You spit on the wall. This is amazing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's super fun. It's super fun.
And I really had a good time. Do you get into sports, or is it just games? And do you get
Just
into
games.
okay, sports games?
I'll play sports games because my brother plays them, so it's like something we can like get on the phone and like, spend 30 minutes talking and just like playing NHL or something. But the only reason I'll usually buy a sports game is because my brother's buying it and it's something we can play together.
Okay. I was just reading this in the paper today. There's a something called sperm racing.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
real.
Yeah.
It's the world's first sperm race. It'll be in LA. It's supposed to raise awareness, they're pretending, about declining male fertility.
Jeez.
Yeah, all right. Sperm racing, a group of young moguls and millionaires raised more than $1 million to back this thing that's going on April 25th at the Hollywood Palladium in front of thousands of spectators. 2 competitors, 2 samples, 1 microscopic finish line, they say.
Yeah.
The mini marathon will see 2 spermazoa, which measures 0.05 millimeters long. Mine's like 0.06. They will
Jeez.
race 20 centimeters along, I don't know what any of these mean, along a microscopic racetrack modeled after the female reproductive system with, quote, chemical signals, fluid dynamics, and synchronized starts. You have to put like a little
That's
thing
so
that you put in
crazy.
front of horses and go.
Yeah.
Sperm's like banging in because they're
Right.
all horned up.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's yet unclear, but based on the sperm's real life speed, the race could be over in a flash or last well over an hour,
Yeah.
just bumping into each other. Let's see. The swimming speed of human sperm in fluid is approximately 5 millimeters per minute. Okay, that means something.
Yeah.
Every move is tracked by high resolution cameras and live streamed for fans. Oh, you can watch it at home.
I mean,
can play
that's the
along,
important
maybe.
thing. Yeah. Yeah. Bet on FanDuel.
There'll also be play-by-play commentary, leaderboards, and even instant replays
Jesus.
while spectators are encouraged to wager money on the race. Between 1973 and 2018, the concentration of sperm among men worldwide dropped by more than 50% from 101 million, that's a lot, how big your ball's going to be, to 49 million sperm per milliliter of semen.
Fair enough.
They say it's
Fair enough.
because of obesity, sedentary lifestyles, smoking, and exposure to certain chemicals and pesticides. Well, the
feel
food
like
we're eating is gross. I was just at the
Yeah.
store and I saw Banquet has this thing called a mega crustless pizza. It's just
That's so
you heat
weird.
it up in the microwave. It's soup. It's sauce and cheese and pepperoni, and they're acting like, you know how that crust annoyed you?
Yeah.
The only thing probably healthy in any way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now don't even worry that fucking. Now you can have your pizza toppings anywhere you want. Oh, So here's what I want everybody to do, okay? Do me the favor. Now, you know what? Do yourself the favor.
Yeah.
Get the book, Game Over, No Rematch.
Good game, no rematch.
Good game, no rematch. Don't get that other book. That other book's bullshit. That's the Japanese version. You don't want that. You want good game, no rematch. When how would people describe you that had played games with you? Would they say good sport? Would they say good winner, good loser? Do you ever lose your shit? You ever throw a controller?
I'd say good loser. I'm actually someone who will because my parents would always lose their shit when they lost. As a kid, I would throw games just to make sure they were having a good time.
Oh, really?
So I'm like someone who's a good loser. I won't throw games as a rule, but I'm definitely someone who will go easy if I see someone's having a really bad time. I would rather someone beat me than give up. So I'm probably it's almost like I'm trying to host the game as much as I am playing.
Gotcha. So that they give a good review.
So they give a good review. So they have a good time. So they don't feel like, this sucked.
Right. What else should the audience know? I say go to MikeDrucker.com, take a look around. He's very funny on social media as well.
Thank you. Yeah, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok. At Mike Drucker is dead. You can find me on most places. If you're still on the hell site of Twitter, at Mike Drucker, as is. And yeah, you can just Google my name, and usually if you do Mike Drucker, it's either me or a 90-year-old French television host.
Okay. Both sound fun.
Both for fun.
You can't lose. Mike, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Take care.